Well, the Europeans would love it to be a triangular relationship of US, EU, Russia. The US seems to see it as US-Russia, and that's how the Russians would like to see it too. Frankly, it feels at the moment as if the EU is playing very little role in this relationship, and that worries a lot of people in the EU, especially those in the new member states of Central and Eastern Europe who have been very frightened by the whole missile defence question. I think they don't need to be quite so frightened, and it would also be very good for Europe if the US and Russia were able to come to an agreement on, for example, arms control, if they could form some kind of common front on Iran. All of these aims of the Obama administration would be very good for European interests. So there's a lot of support for it. Where I think there's anxiety is about the way in which the Obama administration is going about it. Will they really, truly be able to engage Russia? Can they trust the Russians? Will the Obama administration actually be able to get results from these efforts? There's still some very big question marks in Europe, and especially in Brussels, about that.
Any changes of the security architecture in Europe will be made under the auspices of the United States. I think the United States has nothing to fear about this, that, for instance, that Russia and the EU can go on their own without the United States. Of course not, because the United States is the ultimate guarantor of the European security. But in any case, if the United States wants the European Union to share the burden of the security issue, I think that the United States must let the European Union and Russia discuss a new security architecture proposal on their own.
I never speak about this triangle because, after the Cold War, everything has changed in the world. Before, you have unified West and divided Europe. Now you have unified Europe and divided Atlantic alliance. Yeah, Russia is also not the Soviet Union to be engaged in all global controversies and all global problems. So my point is that Russia will be in the 21st century, in the first half of the 21st century, definitely. It will be a huge regional power. It will not regain the status of the Soviet Union as a global player. So in this case, the ideal place for Russia is a place near, or even, this is my personal view, inside the European Union, maybe in some distant future. So from my point of view, the Russian-European relationship is much, much more important for Russia than the Russian-American one.
The major question is not the question about simply the relations between Russia, US, or the EU and Russia. The major problem is about the nature of the European order and what is going to be the United States' role in it. What troubles some of the Europeans, and especially some of the East Europeans, is that the United States decided to go very much bilateral with their relations to Russia. They prefer to treat Russia as a global power and not as European power. And this creates an anxiety, some of them legitimate, some of them illegitimate. But I do believe that the United States should be part of a broader conversations about the future of the European order.